Hello, friends, and welcome to an Unexpected Podcast. I'm Ez. Today we have another special treat for you. Lane, Goldberry, and I finally went on a date together. It's been long overdue. We met up with a few special friends to watch Tolkien on its opening weekend. We were joined by fellow uppers Susie, Ethan, Ben, Nick, Kevin, David, Jen, and Josh. The Tolkien biopic opening night was awesome. It was a great experience. I was emotional by the end of it, trying to not out loud cry, as I termed it right after the film. So, anyways, right afterwards, though, we did head over to a local tavern where we could discuss the movie. We actually ran into Tom Bombadil himself. You can hear him playing a little bit of music at the start of this episode, kind of in the background. So if you hear that, we will eventually talk to that singer, and he comes up and he's the real Tom for sure. So these are our initial reactions. We hope you enjoy. Also, be sure to check out our one-on-one with Travis Sigler. Travis attended the world premiere in LA on the green carpet. We've posted that conversation on patreon.com/uptalkingtolkien. The link is in the description. Enjoy.
We're live. Little Tom Petty. Get into the gray wide open. Man, I'm having trouble finding the
harmonization. Get that harmony note going.
Guys, we are here. Post Tolkien in a little bar in Pickerington called Pivot. Pivot. For all of you friends, fans out there, it's the only thing I know from the show.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hey, what's up, Ez? We've got the flannel wizard is here in the house.
Not much. I'm just chilling out.
Chilling out.
Head of this awesome table with these awesome friends, listening to some awesome music.
I look down. It's like a council. We're like at a council right now, a great council. We're gonna get people's reactions. We're not gonna talk very much. We're gonna let our friends talk because that movie we just saw was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
You know, when you think about like the Tolkien estate wanted to disavow themselves because of maybe some details and some intricacies that weren't maybe expounded upon. For whatever infractions may have happened there, I tell you what, man, the spirit. I was moved to tears about 30 times.
Oh, dude!
And you didn't cry till the end.
I cried.
But you were just saving it in until that. I let it out the whole way.
I almost out loud cried, and I did everything I could to hold it in to the very end.
So, and my point being, the emotions that it evoked, the the way it captured who I imagine that man to have been. I'll never meet him. I'll never meet Tolkien. I'll never know him.
No.
But that's
you
when I think.
But you do.
We do.
You do know him.
And those stories make me feel who that man was that I just saw in that movie.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. 100%.
So, Dave, our first question is it Helheima or Helheima?
I think it could go either way.
Could go either way.
Whatever your heart tells you, Lane.
That's right. Isn't that the point?
You just got to let your heart guide you.
Wow.
Tell us about your reactions, your major takeaways from watching Tolkien.
I go into movies with no expectations because if you don't do that, you're never disappointed.
Yeah,
but
that's a good point.
It blew me away. I didn't expect it to be that good. The cinematography, the music, the casting, the acting.
Did you notice the score never stopped?
Yeah.
It was like continuous music the whole time.
Yeah. I didn't hear any music, so that's great.
It was just.
But no, I mean you were kind of going from his war experience to his younger days to his being a professor, and it was nice to kind of see jump cuts done well.
Did you like the way it was done? The way it was laid out?
I really liked the way it was done.
I
thought it was paced pretty good. A little quick in the beginning, but
sure.
But honestly, my favorite part was he's got trench fever, right?
Yeah.
He's hallucinating. He's trying to find his friend. He's literally in a pool of blood, right? And then he's out in the field trying to find his friend during a charge, and he's literally hallucinating. It's like there's Melkor right in front of him.
Yeah. Oh man!
And he sees the white horse.
Yep.
It was it was just riddled full of these little tasty Easter eggs. Yep. That I mean, if you're a fan, or if you've even looked into his history vaguely, It's going to give you a ton to smile about.
Yeah.
And like you were talking about,
Thank you very much.
No,
that's all right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're good.
sorry, we're actually, we got waitresses here.
We're getting drank up here.
Is that Rosie?
Is that Rosie?
Oh no! Wow.
Oh boy.
But anyway,
Oh, boy.
Anyways, Lane's dying. It was just a great movie. I want to watch it again.
Me too.
I would like to go right now. Let's go. You guys ready? Let's go watch it again.
Midnight showing.
Yeah, why not? So is that? I mean, were there any parts of that weren't like real?
What's that?
Were there any parts to the this is great. This is great. You guys, I can hear every single word you're saying. And actually, the audio quality sounds really good.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I got these sick dynamic mics.
Yeah, of
okay?
course you do.
But were there parts of that were embellished? I mean, how much of that was embellished, or was that
Of the battle stuff? Is that what you're
no,
asking?
not even the battle stuff, just like some of the story stuff. I mean, like, was that all pretty accurate to
I mean,
the way it went down?
Honestly, I don't know in terms of like the influences. All those influences, yes.
Yeah,
like the fellowship of his friends.
Yeah.
The influence of language, like even the tree stuff. How he's out there telling his kids to go talk to trees, asking their names.
And he got that from his mom. That's sort of what they were kind of saying.
The origins, I guess so.
Yeah.
That's something I don't know.
I thought that was kind of neat because they used to talk about how mom used to make us go out
Yeah.
and talk to the trees and stuff, and I was like, really? That's different.
Yes,
you know?
and I guess that's something I need to look into because I don't remember, because his mom died when he was relatively young too.
Right.
And a lot of his biography stuff, it starts kind of like after that.
Later.
Like it starts
Yes.
with the Great War, a little bit before, and then on. It's about his writing. So this is kind of cool because it did sort of get me interested in like his.
Yeah.
His not his infancy, but his childhood, like his childhood.
Well, here's something interesting. I was watching Stephen Colbert's interview with the actors, and they talked about the scene where he doesn't have, or when she's engaged, someone like sits him down and talks.
It's an interesting commentary on the time, because I mean, he's basically a ward. And the privileges that we enjoy here and now were not. You had a duty, and
that's something his mom kind of
started
like bestowed on him. Yeah.
So the commentary on because a lot of times with look backs in history, they tend to like take those little things out because they're not kosher to today.
Right.
But it was interesting to see how the times changed so much.
Yep.
And did you notice when the guy rolls out in the quad and he's like, "We're at war!"
Yeah.
And you notice how everybody cheers and hugs, and they were excited.
They were pumped.
Yeah.
And we remember that from They Shall Not Grow Old.
They Shall Not Grow Old.
Those boys were excited to go to war. It was a good.
They had no
thing
idea
for
really.
them. Something else that Kevin, who we're going to talk to later, enlightened me on is that something that was left out of the film is that when Edith was engaged, right? That guy, in history, in reality, that guy gave her hand back to
that's where I was getting
Tolkien.
to.
Oh, okay.
Like the actress talked about that. She was talking about like that was a scene that they it was in her research. She learned that she was engaged and that he really knew they should be together, and in a very gentlemanlike fashion set them down together and said, "You two deserve each other. You guys should be together." And off they go. According to her from the interview, I had no idea. I'd never heard about that before. So
see, and I didn't know that. And again, what we're talking about, this movie is going to drive people to learn more about Tolkien, the man.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Which is a good thing.
But I mean, even if we talk about embellishment, I think that's it seems so flattering. Like,
yes,
if that were me, I'd be proud to have that as a movie about my life.
Yep.
I thought they represented everybody really well.
No shortcuts, and any embellishments were, like you said, flattering.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys getting food?
Perfect.
Did you already order food? She's coming back?
Yeah, we got to get food, man.
Okay. Don't let her think that I don't want food just because I have this microphone in front of me.
Did you just want to get all the appetizers? Like
yes.
We'll split and we'll just
take
go all the appetizers,
all apps,
right?
All around. I need one of each.
The fellowship of the apps.
Fellowship of the apps. Okay, so in closing, what would you say? I don't know. What would you say to someone who's going into this film, hasn't seen it yet, might be a little skeptical, might not want to go?
Keep your mind open. It's a beautiful story of love, and it's a period piece, and it's got magic in it.
I felt like it had everything.
It's got a little bit of everything in it. And if you just like a movie that you can just sit there and literally enjoy and not consider that I spent 2 hours watching it, you'll love it.
Did you sniff Oscar in there anywhere?
Say again?
Did you sniff Oscar in there anywhere?
Oh,
man. I mean,
man.
that acting was amazing, wasn't it?
For me, I could see it, because for anything, really, I mean, the score, the acting.
The chemistry of those two.
Yeah.
Of Holt and Colin, I'm like, they are in love in real life. They have to be, because it was amazing.
They have to be. And their hands definitely were touching in ways that
Come
I just...
on, man.
Well, when he's telling her the story in the restaurant that they get thrown out of,
right.
They got a lot of thrown out of stuff, but so he's literally making this story. It was great.
We're about we're just commentating. On the vocals up there. They're great. They're wonderful. We love it. This is a little podcast. So, no, keep going. You're good.
Keep going.
You're good.
Please.
It's good background.
We're in the Dragon right now.
Sorry,
man.
No, seriously, great movie. Just watch it.
Yeah.
And when it comes out, I'm buying it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Blu-ray, 4K, whatever. Whatever.
I actually have a 4K TV, so there you go.
Man.
Finally,
we're gonna go watch it at Dave's.
Getting in the 20th century.
All right, brother. You want to pass that mic down to Ben? We're gonna talk to Ben.
Sure. I was just gonna pause it. Yeah.
Would it be easier if I come down that way and trade, or just...
I can hear you just fine.
That works.
It's fantastic.
Can he hear you, though?
I will shout. I will shout.
That'll work.
We're here with our man, Ben. Ben, what'd you think of that movie? Major takeaways, impressions?
So, I came into it off of like a 20-minute nap. David found me.
Where
really
were
nice.
you?
I literally napped in the theater.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, that's awesome.
I got there
That is so
early
cool.
because I came from work. So I just got my popcorn, I set it down next to me, I took a nap for like 20, 30 minutes.
Gosh.
That's
so I
amazing.
felt really refreshed.
Sure.
Going into the movie.
And you're also kind of, this is the beginning of your vacation, too.
This is the beginning
So
of my vacation.
mode.
I'm leaving
You're
for North
charged.
Carolina at 4 in the morning this morning.
Holy
tomorrow morning.
smokes.
Why go to sleep, right?
Why not?
Yeah.
Are you driving?
Yeah.
You're good.
Maybe that's why.
Probably. Maybe. Nah. Not worried about it. I can sleep when I'm dead. But
Exactly.
anyways, that might happen on the drive if I don't sleep.
God, I hope not.
But no, the movie. I think. All right, so I'm going to start with the first thing, which is probably my favorite element of the movie, and I noticed it as the credits were rolling.
Okay.
And it's actually something that the Lord of the Rings movies, did for me when I was younger watching. What was really cool was I found that I loved music that was immersive, but you didn't notice it until either afterwards or when you're rewatching
So I have a question
the
for
movie.
you.
Yeah, sure.
Did it stop the entire time?
The music?
I don't think it
no,
did,
not
did
at
it?
all.
Because
no.
Okay, and that's something because I noticed. I'm like, geez, there's a lot of I was sucked into it, and then I would snap out. I'm like, there hasn't been a pause in this music whatsoever.
No, not at all. You're right.
Which has got to be a commentary on, like, I mean, the creation of the world, right?
Oh,
It
yeah.
was all music. It was
was all
chords and
music,
music, and
Yeah.
so that was part of Tolkien. Yeah, so yeah.
It was such a big thing for him,
Yep.
and so just what I
Even
noticed
his languages,
was
the way they sound like singing, like
Oh,
Elvish
yeah.
sounds like
Oh yeah. When he was, I don't want to give away, I guess, details, but with the one scene where he's,
on the lawn.
on the
Yeah.
lawn,
Yeah,
throwing some words out there, we'll
Yep.
say. There definitely was a lot of like singy song to
Melodic.
what he was saying, which
Yeah.
was cool.
Yeah.
Is there a story in that, like out on the lawn, intoxicated?
I don't know.
I'm
and
dude.
saves
for Tolkien or me?
Well, I just mean in general, like
or both.
something that we can apply to our
Both.
life,
No, thanks.
So, I just think it's interesting. Like that's what saved him.
It really was.
It was.
You
See,
know?
and like I said, this is what's going to drive us back into his. I got a biography, man. I got to get back into. I read it
Yeah.
in high school, and I'm trusting them. Now you call me a fool of a toque, but Tolkien was too. Apparently, if you watch the
fool of a
movie,
toque.
If you watch the movie,
origin
you're
of
right.
his name
Yeah.
means foolhardy, which is
Yeah.
a toque. Tolkien, toque.
Yep.
But I'm trusting them. They did their research, so I'm guessing there was some sort of influence.
Something
there.
happened.
Some
I bet he
story
did,
that
I bet he did lose his scholarship.
I bet he
or
did.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
I bet he
something
did.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know
I
if
wonder
it was
if
so
it's-
dramatic for him to win it back, but
Sure.
still, he.
yeah. I wonder
Yeah.
if it was because he was too rowdy though,
Might have been, man.
or maybe he wasn't as
Or he
motivated
was
in the field of study.
disinterested.
he was in.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
his-
stealing buses. You know, you gotta
Right,
be careful of that. If I had a nickel,
Those
you know,
rugby players, man, they're trouble.
they're crazy.
So, but you were talking about the music. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, so I think the biggest thing was just during the credits was when I realized that the emotions were so perfectly pictured, or like carried you along
Yeah.
with the movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't really notice it until the end. As the credits are rolling, I don't have anything to visually watch anymore but words on a screen.
Yep.
Which is ironically probably what Tolkien wanted me to watch. But
Right.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I was like, wow, the music was so great, and I want to go back to watch it already just to see things I missed.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just
Sure.
talking with Nate over here,
Yeah.
and he mentioned to me how I didn't notice this at the time, but subtly in the background, right near the end, where Mrs. Smith is like agreeing to have her son's stuff published.
Yes.
In the background, in the music, you can hear a little bit of that flute that's like very common.
Shire-like.
Yeah, in the Shire and a lot of the Lord of the Rings movies
Wow.
back in there. So
Did you even notice like
That's awesome.
some piano as well?
Oh, yeah.
And, like and especially
Yeah,
pertaining
Edith
to
was playing it, I noticed,
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, but even in the score, I would notice some piano like driving notes, sort of more modern.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's
yeah,
part of Edith. That's worked in there too.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
totally. I definitely saw a lot of that. So that was like my biggest takeaway. I think just because I really get sucked into soundtracks and
Yeah,
movies a
sure,
lot, but
sure.
I really enjoyed that one, and I think Tolkien would have been really happy about that. Other than that, I mean, yeah, it just the story was really well done. It felt a little quick in the beginning, but it's childhood. It goes by pretty quick, right?
Yeah.
True.
That's a good
That's
point.
a good
So,
And we're jumping around a lot too. It's like we're getting
Yeah.
used to the pacing of the film, and I
Yeah.
think maybe, or just the cutting of the film.
yeah.
You settle in, about
Yeah.
third of the way through, and you're like, okay, we're going to be seeing some here and there, and
Yeah, I think where I found the scene where it was him and Edith at the fancy restaurant or whatever it
oh,
was.
that was
Yeah.
fantastic.
That was where it literally
Oh, my
went
gosh.
from it's going very quickly, it's jumping to I can settle into the story. I
Yeah.
noticed that during it, and I really appreciated that. And like from there on, I was
You're-
fully
yeah.
sold. Before that, I was kind of
dude.
like, man, I'm jumping a lot. Like I'm
Right.
trying to catch up.
Which is so
but-
fitting because that's when they
good.
settle
That's
into
good.
each other, isn't it?
Yes,
It's
well,
when they have that.
you can tell by the hands, right?
I mean, just right there, but pull
Oh,
him back,
hey.
pull him back. Hey,
Yeah,
Hey,
easy.
Come on,
now.
Lane.
we're English.
Calm
We can't tell. We
yourself.
can't talk about our feelings here.
No,
all right,
seriously.
easy.
Hand to
What about
hand.
the group of people you saw the movie with? Enjoyable.
Us, of course.
I
yes.
think everyone but two people were uppers, right? I mean, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It was the private
actually.
theater. I think didn't Nicholas Holt jump out at one point?
I think he did,
He
like
was
from
there.
behind the curtain.
Thought he
yeah.
was doing a Q&A, and then he was like, "Oh shit, I'm in the
no.
wrong spot. I'm out."
Supposed to be in
Wrong
LA.
spot.
How'd I get here?
I just said wrong sprot. You got me with those R's. You got me with those R's. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. I have to say, for the second time, the music. I said this when Fogues was talking. It's not that I
You
didn't
didn't even
hear
notice
it.
it,
I
did
did
you?
not, but I think
That's
that's a
the-
good thing, right? I mean, I was
Say it
so
again?
locked in.
Yeah.
I think that was a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think
the-
that's the
it
effect.
just-
It was
It
part
was
of the
there.
story.
I didn't. It was just so good. It was all
Yeah.
so ingrained. I didn't even
Yeah.
really notice it that much, and that is
It
the
really
beauty.
helped to immerse you in the story,
Yeah. Yep.
but like your emotions were just being toyed with, and you didn't even know.
Yeah,
In
that,
a non-manipulative way, but
yes,
Right.
yes.
yeah,
so
No,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
it was like a almost a form of the camaraderie that we were seeing on screen. It totally worked with. Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
I knew you brought up his friend George, right? Smith, Jeffrey Smith.
Jeffrey Smith.
And
yeah.
you talked about wanting to research.
It's called a Spring Harvest. I already
Spring
looked it up,
Harvest, yes.
and I'd like to read it a little bit.
I think I would
it's
too.
Yeah, I
like
would too.
to honor his
Poetry
friend. I
before.
mean, yeah.
He's got a foreword in it that would be interesting to hear him speak
Yeah.
about his friendship, his fellowship
It-
with him.
What a cool thing that's sort of one of the notes it ended on too.
Yeah.
What was him honoring his friend? That reminds me of like, I don't know, different thing, but like Frodo continuing Bilbo's book. You know, when we
yeah.
watch the movies, he writes in his book and then he hands that off to Sam. and it's like just this passing on of this person's gone,
Yeah.
but their works are still here,
Yeah.
and it's worth looking into. What 70, 80 years later with us now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that stuff is stuff that just because he didn't live a longer life and gain renown doesn't mean it's something not worth investing our time in and
Sure.
Yeah.
experiencing. Yeah, it's just amazing. Like
Yeah,
art is,
totally.
and that was the cool thing for me. Not to go on talking, but like the most powerful line I found was when they said we're going to change the world through the power of art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I mean, that
awesome.
sums it all up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's their great
it does.
battle. Yeah.
It does.
What
Wow.
about, real quickly, before I forget to mention this, the letter that came up from that Tolkien got from
Jeff.
from Jeffrey. Yeah. Is that real? I mean, he got that letter saying that was powerful, like talking about continuing his words or say what I wanted to say, but will never have a
I
chance
don't know.
to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was-
yeah.
I'm not
That
sure
shook
if it
me for a
was or
little.
if
That
it
was-
was a dramatization,
Yeah.
Hollywoodism or something.
I
but
hope that. I mean,
It's something we can definitely research and find out, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
like, to write that in the war and then for him to, I don't know, that
I'm
would
sure
be
the Tolkien estate would have it. Maybe we could call them up and hey, can we fax us a copy or?
right. Yeah,
No,
we'll call.
should I be
yeah.
careful about
No.
what I'm saying? For the Tolkien, they
No.
they don't have assassins, right?
Maybe they do. We might want to go back and redact some of what we
I
said in
mean,
the past. But
Peter Jackson's still alive, and they weren't happy with the movies
That's true.
beforehand.
That's
right?
true.
Very,
So
very
That's a good
true.
point.
Especially after the Hobbit.
maybe
so.
they're ineffective assassins.
yeah, or maybe he was a pawn.
Ooh. Ooh.
All right, that's enough. That's enough of that. You're going on vacation soon, my friend. We hope you have an awesome time
Yeah.
and
Cheers.
you're safe. Please don't
Yes.
get too drunk tonight.
I promise
When
I
we
will
leave you.
not. I will not. Probably one beer and I'm out.
Don't go play any midnight rugby or anything.
Well,
But it was
no
awesome.
promises.
Yeah, well, you can't ever promise that. But it was an awesome experience to watch the movie with you too.
Of course.
Definitely, man.
Of course. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thanks for
coming-
having us all get out.
Are you coming to
Yeah.
a long expected party?
I
in
plan on it.
September? Oh.
As long as
Yes.
I don't have a rugby match, that is fall season.
You know what I had to do? I had to request last year that we didn't play that week.
Well,
I think
I'm-
you go to the Castaways and say, "Hey, it's off." guys.
I can try, but I don't have as much leeway as you. You know, I didn't
Yeah.
create them.
You tell me to talk to Steve, and I'll talk to Steve.
All right, fine. I'll have you talk.
I'll see
to
what I
Steve.
can do.
that's hilarious.
Awesome.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
man.
Well, Ben, thanks, man. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
guys.
On shoes.
Some squishy.
It's
Oh,
early.
bro. I know, but this was a night off, kind of, you know. Holy cow!
Yeah, straight to the bloodstream.
What's it called? Called rain. I gotta stay away from that, bro.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like Red Bulls.
Dang.
Red Bulls are good. That probably makes Red Bull look like a
A
tricycle.
joke. Yeah.
Cures what ails you.
We are. We're here with Nate. We just met Nate this evening.
Yes, say Nate.
He's one of our.
I don't think I met you.
Yep. Nate.
Good
pleasure
meet you. Good meet you.
He is one of our good buddy Kevin's good friends, and he's here. Took in the movie Tolkien. What'd you think, man? Tell us your reactions, your impressions, your takeaways.
Well, my first impression was that the film comes from a place of sincere love and admiration
Absolutely.
for Tolkien. I mean, from the very start to the very end, every single touch was meticulously calculated. The cinematography was just beautiful.
Yeah.
The music was astounding. I mean, everything from start to finish. You could tell this was a labor of love. And I really think the Tolkien community as a whole is just going to love it. Absolutely. Well,
So piggyback on what
That's
you're
good.
saying,
That's good.
talking about the visual aspect, and then Ben just talked about the musical
Yes,
aspect.
the
David
score.
was talking
Yep.
about that too. This is a movie I could watch with no sound at all, or I could only hear the sound. Like, I don't know too many movies like that where I could turn the sound off, watch it, and it's still
great either way.
gorgeous.
It's
Or I could just listen to the soundtrack and be blown away too.
yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
amazing. What did you think about the way Professor Tolkien was portrayed? Does it matter to you that like there were some liberties taken with like we don't know the exact liberties, but that some of that stuff might not be historically accurate, but that like a certain spirit came through.
absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing to take away from this is it doesn't have to be a true-to-life adaptation of what his life was actually
Yeah.
like. Anyone
Yeah.
can read a biography and get the same effect.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
to feel the spirit behind everything that he went through, I think to understand how he went from birthing this world from his mind, from everything that he's learned through life and all of his experiences. This film is what shines through. Absolutely, 100%. I think that the depictions of the relationship with his friends are going to resonate the most with Tolkien fans all across the world. I think that that relationship is what binds everything together, both in his real life and in his fictional life. And then you could just see so many mirrors between the events that he went through and how relationships interact in his fictional world. Totally. How everything starts from building the initial scenery to the nuances of interpersonal relationships, to cultural relationships, to linguistic relationships. I mean, it just goes on and on.
That's a great. I hadn't even really thought of that. And as you're saying that, I'm getting like I had the flash of the image of that as they were leaving Sarehole, of that panoramic shot. It's not real long, of rural countryside England. That was his influence for the Shire.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the environments that he created in his works, and then you're right, the relationships, the linguistics, everything was hit upon. I think you could have done this movie a million different ways and missed something, and I felt like there wasn't something that was missing, and the way it was woven together. Like I think Dome, the director, is responsible for a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I'd say he's got a little touch of Tolkien in it himself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like it was crafted. Yeah, great point. Masterfully.
Now, I have a question. You talked a lot about like the Tolkien fans and community enjoying this, but I honestly believe I could have set my sister
And
down,
not even
who doesn't know anything about it, and if I just said, hey, he's going to end up being
Mike
a great
should have
author.
come.
Exactly. He
Should have
should
been here, Mike.
Mike should have been here.
You would have liked it.
But it's like, because all you like with the images you see during World War I, there it feels like if you just know he's he has this imagination and he's creative and he's an artist, you can just see that's just how he sees the world, and those things are just kind of cropping up, and those visuals and that feeling is that's we're seeing it through his eyes, sort of. And I thought that was really cool, and I felt like anyone could have picked that up. You don't even need to know that is. Either whether it's Melkor, Sauron, whoever, Dark Lord, you just know this guy's got an imagination, and wow, he can do all this cool stuff and create a world. He must be a great author, and you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's open to everybody who would want to see a movie like this.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this is a great way to introduce the world that he builds from his story. Because you're right, anyone can watch this film and just enjoy a great story.
Yeah,
and you get wrapped up into what he's created from that. The community is going to grow regardless of whether or not they came to get sucked into Middle Earth. They're going to Middle Earth.
Man.
right. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think that's one of the things you got to look at is growing the community a little bit, and just to have a youngster or somebody who's never read it go in there and be like, what's this great story that he wrote? I don't know.
And you're talking about growing the community, and I don't know why, but the image of the boys when they were younger were they still boys? I can't remember. It's when they were talking about a need for strong women in these stories.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about I was thinking about I'm going to show these Lord of the Rings obviously, but also this movie to my girls someday, right? It's about growing the community. How like Lord of the Rings has such an untrue reputation of being like a boys' club type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But Tolkien, and it's funny because you think about the strongest person in his life was his wife. Mm-hmm. She was the one who helped him understand language even more. She was the one who helped him be inspired. She, was like the influence of the greatest love story in all of his works.
Yep.
And how they talked about not putting, how in the old stories they had all these dainty women who were,
damsels in distress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. DIDs.
Yep.
And how he changed that. You have Eowyn.
Yep.
You have Arwen. You have Galadriel. You have these strong women who are some of the most powerful forces in the world. And I mean, that's cool. You're talking about growing the community.
Well,
and that,
that's everything Edith was saying when they start talking about and he's telling the story, and she interjects and starts to kind of talk about the story that she thinks he should be telling.
Dude,
a little bit
she
with
got that
her
story
character.
out of him. She was the one who said, talking about, oh my gosh, just pulled that cellar door out of him.
It was amazing.
Oh yeah, that was one of my favorite parts. Absolutely.
How cool is that? Because he would have been so I don't know, man. She carved his path like helped him find his way. And I just think, I don't know, it's just your mind starts going to places. It's incredibly inspiring.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I really like how he had all of this built up inside of him already, but he had no focus, no direction to kind of take it all.
How to get it
and
out.
she starts carving that out for him. You know?
Doesn't that kind of help? Because I think we all have this kind of like greatness in us. I really do. I really in whatever. It's not necessarily a story for everyone. It's not necessarily a work of art. It's different things.
Sure.
It could be the way you live your life.
That's
And
right.
I think it's so important that we find the people who help bring that, into focus, help us channel that, and
Yeah.
I think it brought a lot of hope in that way too. So like you said, you wouldn't even have to be into Middle Earth, be into Lord of the Rings to
you might not
find.
even know what it is, but then
Yeah.
all the things that you mentioned about the score, the way it looked, the themes that are there, anybody can enjoy it. It's
Yeah.
just a great freaking movie, and he's
Yeah.
a great. He himself is a great person, a great character. So it's just like, I'm blown away. I was blown away by how good it was, honestly. And like at the end, I'll keep saying it. I was ready to out loud cry,
Yeah.
like out loud cry at the end. And I was like, this is something.
Well, so Nate, I guess in closing, Tolkien's best friend was a smith, which that makes sense, obviously. But if you had to cast an actor to play Ezra Kirk in his life story,
jeez,
who would it be?
cast me for me.
So we've had longer to look at him, so we could cast someone for him. Who would you cast in the role of Ezra Kirk?
Make it someone dashing.
Oh, so Ryan Reynolds then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Perfect.
There
I
you
see
go,
it,
buddy.
dude.
All right, that's perfect.
I see it.
We're running with that. If somebody could do some fan art, that'd be
It's the
amazing.
cut jaw,
It's
you know,
the
jawline,
the
there it is.
chiseled chin. You know.
Yes.
All right,
I
perfect.
see it, my
You see
man.
what I'm talking about?
Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds, the Kirk
Let's
film.
get the artwork going on that, okay? I could really use some for my Instagram, all right?
Nate, this is
So-
awesome. Thank you, dude.
Yep, thank you.
Appreciate it. So we're talking to a musician. You may have heard in the background some groovy tunes and some beautiful singing, and it's coming from this man right here. This
What's your
musician.
name?
What's your
My
name,
name
sir?
is Peter Conrad.
Peter
Conrad.
Ezra.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Ezra.
meet you, Lane.
Lane.
Nice to meet you, man. So
Nice to meet
we
you
said
guys.
Tolkien, and you threw your. I mean, you're kind of dressed like a hobbit here
See
yourself.
there? I look like a hobbit.
See, and that's what we
I
take.
have very hairy toes.
We take.
Oh, that's
we
great.
take pride in being hobbits ourselves. So
Absolutely.
you threw your hands up when we said Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Tell us your Tolkien story.
I was reading Lord of the Rings before any of you were born.
Come on.
Oh, this is
Come
what
on.
I'm talking
thought
about.
or
We're-
considered.
This is great. That's perfect.
High school,
Okay.
1969.
Holy cow.
I was in art class, and I did stories and drawings,
Yeah.
kind of like John Lennon used to do.
Yeah.
And my art teacher gave me a
Can you
list
hear
of
him
books.
okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure
Oh, yeah.
we're
My
done.
art
Sorry.
teacher gave me a list of books that she thought would be good for me to read.
Yeah.
One of them was Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit,
Fantastic.
which I devoured. And
Like
my
a dragon.
my wife has read them.
Yeah.
No
yeah.
way.
We've seen all
Yeah.
the movies. Every year we watch the entire 6 trilogies. You know, The Lord of
Yeah.
the Rings and The
Let's
Hobbit, the extended
go.
cuts.
My man, that's the only way to
Okay.
watch them.
Oh.
Only way to
Standing
watch
cuts.
them.
That's awesome.
And we watch that every year. And I've read Lord of the Rings, I don't know, 20, 25 times, easily.
This is amazing.
So what we do for this podcast is it's a reread. We're going through it's a virtual book club where we read a chapter, and every week we record and we talk about it, and we have a Facebook group where people jump in and they talk about their relation to the stories,
and we have people who have read it that many times. I mean, like,
Yes.
20, 15 times. And
the
so we're always
wise,
like,
the
wow.
ancient and the wise.
Yeah, we're like, it's.
Well, I'm
elven.
ancient. I don't know about the wise.
Reading it 25 times.
Oh, that's
you are wise,
hilarious.
my friend. Very wise.
Oh,
so,
yes.
Who's your favorite character?
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's tough. That's actually that's
Can
an
you
unfair
pinpoint
question.
one?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's unfair.
Who got left out of the movie?
Tom
Bombadil.
Bombadil.
That's right.
Okay, so we have this.
Hey, nani, nani, and a hey, ho,
Yeah,
ho.
yeah.
Dude, are you Tom? Is this guy Tom
This is
Bombadil?
Tom Bombadil. We came across Tom Bombadil. I did not expect this.
for real,
He was up
man.
here singing. Tom's a singer himself, so here
He's
he is.
wandered into this
We've
world
got
too.
We've literally got Goldberry back here. This
Yes,
is
we
unbelievable.
do.
This is Goldberry right here.
gosh.
Goldberry,
Right
meet
here.
Goldberry
Hey,
down
can we
here.
get a
That's
picture with you
unreal.
guys? Could
We
someone?
have 2 rings to rule us.
Yes.
anyway.
Yes, you do.
Oh, that's
Dave,
so
can you
great.
take our picture? One of these.
So
This
let
is
me
so
ask
cool.
you. So now,
Yeah.
flip the script.
Goldberry, we need you in here too.
I'm the
Is that all right?
interviewer.
Okay, okay.
Ready?
How was the Tolkien movie?
Oh. You guys?
We just got done seeing it.
It was
amazing.
Was it?
It was amazing. So like the Tolkien estate recently said, we weren't involved. There's going to be some inaccuracies and stuff.
Right.
Which I think they just kind of have to do. That's what they have to do. But
Sure,
it came out right before, and it had people kind of like me. I was like, oh my gosh, well, what's going to happen? Like, did they change a lot? What's going on? But you go into it, and like, you can have a vague knowledge. We were just talking about that. You can have a vague knowledge
That's
of
right.
Tolkien.
Yeah.
You could have an
Right.
in-depth knowledge of Tolkien. You could have no knowledge and be moved by this movie. It was
really
They
good.
worked
Can't
in.
wait.
They
You got-
man,
oh, it's
you
gonna
lo-
be-
They worked in the language. They worked in his love story. They worked in his childhood. They worked in his being an orphan. They worked in the war.
The lead actor and actress on Colbert,
Colbert.
the other night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
And it was obvious they knew what was going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they
Yes.
schooled him on how to say.
Tolkien, my
yeah.
man.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's right.
That's
That's
so
right.
cool.
And Colbert is supposed to be such a Lord of the Rings
No, he says Tolkien, right?
nerd.
Right. Yeah. Yep. That's funny. Yeah.
Tolkien.
We're Americans after all, right? Yeah.
That is
Oh
so
man,
cool.
that's
I feel
fantastic.
like, I don't know what it was that literally brought. That is unbelievable that we.
That is
We
wild.
came in here and we actually. The reason we were like, we saw you up there playing, and I was kind of like, well, actually, it's fitting because like we're just in a.
We're in the dragon
like,
right now.
We're in the dragon.
Yeah.
We're just hanging out, having a good time, and so the background music was great.
If
Perfect.
I had known, I would have done some Led Zeppelin.
Oh,
Over the hill, far away.
oh yeah.
You know.
So
Well,
here's a funny story, right?
actually-
This young man over here doesn't know Led Zeppelin. And I said, Ez.
I know a little Led Zeppelin.
It's an old blues man.
Yeah.
What I told him,
Mississippi.
I said, Ez.
Right.
I said, Ez. They were heavily inspired by Tolkien. They worked Tolkien into Battle of Evermore.
That's right, Battle of Evermore, yeah.
Isn't there some reference even in Stairway to Heaven?
There's a reference to Frodo
Okay, right.
in Ramble On.
Yes, that's right. And the Mist
Wow.
Mountain Hop.
Oh, Gollum. To Gollum. And Gollum, the
Yes.
evil lord,
See?
crept up and slipped away with her.
Some acapella right now, baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So anyway,
that's
I
awesome.
told Esther about that, and I think
That'd be cool. I would love to
Return
hear.
of the King. We're going to have to play some in an episode.
I would love if we could
Yeah.
get maybe like a recording or something, or like a we're going to
Could you
give you
email
our,
us
our
something?
email.
Yeah, sure.
And
Okay.
maybe we could
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
play something in our podcast.
I'd be glad to.
Would that be cool?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Now,
that would
here's
be.
the other amazing thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to be here tonight.
Get out of here,
See,
man.
that's crazy.
Get
Like,
out
we
of
were
here.
at another place and it was filled up, so we're like, wow, we'll come over here.
We literally
I-
did a pivot.
Yeah, we did a
We did a
pivot, and
pivot
came
to
over here
get
and
to
just
pivot.
like,
I did
Worked
not
out.
have a show tonight.
yeah.
It's the only night I don't have a show until the end of September.
Wow.
Holy
So
smokes.
I'm sitting home, and a good friend of mine, Gary Weiser, calls me up, says, "Do you still need a gig?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is 6:45.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I said,
That's
well,
when the movie
I said,
started.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, I was supposed to play at Pivot, but I can't.
Yeah.
And so here I am.
Wow, man.
That's
I-
actually really cool.
That is
I got
unbelievable.
here and played my stuff, and
That's like
That's
I don't know what that I don't know
unbelievable.
what that is. If that's fate, some other powers working, that's insane. Because I was thoroughly, enjoying what was happening up there. We were having a good time. It felt like we were in Middle
It
Earth.
did. It
I
did.
mean, I just
Oh.
felt,
Yes, it
felt
did.
good. So I
yeah,
don't know.
boy,
Yeah.
if I'd known, I would have done some.
Well, here's,
We're gonna
here's
get
the
some
deal.
from you then.
But
That's
I,
have to, we have to come watch
I
it.
would not do Leonard Nimoy's The Story of Bilbo Baggins.
Well, that's good because we've got you covered already.
Yeah, we
We've
gave
already done
we
that.
gave
And
it a
wasn't
try. It was
pretty
not
thing.
good. It was not
It
good.
was not pretty whatsoever.
that's bad.
It was, and it was even worse with us.
It's
it was
almost
pretty
as bad
bad.
as that first cartoon movie that came out.
Yeah, we have yet. You know what? I've never even seen that.
I have.
I have yet to see that.
We
And
got
you
it.
have.
I have. It's. Was it bad? Was it really that bad?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
When you compare it to the films.
songs were really nice. I liked some of
Listen
the
to
songs.
Goldberry.
Yeah.
What a
My
voice.
wife Goldberry talking.
Yeah. Goldberry.
That's me.
Good to
Oh,
meet
well,
you.
gosh.
There was a Hobbit. I think it was Baskin and Robbins.
Yes,
That's-
Baskin Rankin or
Baskin and
Bassin
Robbins.
Rankin.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, it was ranked. So the Hobbit,
was
it was
ranked.
very silly,
Right.
and it was very Fred Flintstone-y and stiff.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't see what I'm doing now, but all I'm moving is my
Just as-
arm.
yep.
He's very stiff with his arms right
Yep.
now.
And then another company made Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And did a, am I allowed to curse?
Of course
Sure.
you are.
Did
Absolutely.
a hell of a job.
Yep.
Very artsy. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
The
Beautiful.
Bakshi film, right? Ralph Bakshi?
Right.
Yes.
It only covered half of the trilogy.
Yes.
And then Baskin and Robbins stepped in and sued them and they did the second half, and it looked like that stupid Hobbit again.
I did not know that
I
was
didn't
part of the
know that.
One
ring.
arm
Actually,
only.
that's
you
pretty
know,
neat.
Oh my
only the
gosh.
mouth moves.
Oh, that's great.
Tom, this has been a pleasure, man.
Oh.
And I'm calling you Tom because you're Tom Bombadil.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, 99.
That's who you are.
We
I like,
do
for
need to
real
know,
felt
like,
like we've met Tom Bombadil.
Where can we? Do you have stuff online or anything?
I do.
Like,
I do.
do you?
I'll give you information. You can
Okay.
go to my website, which is
Yeah.
www.peterconradmusic.com.
Okay. Okay.
I'm also, of course, on the ever-friendly Facebook.
That's the one. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
I think you're going
That's
to have to join
perfect.
us too.
And you can find me, just my page, Peter Conrad, or you can find me at Peter Conrad Solo
Okay.
on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay.
On Peter Conrad Solo, I have live videos.
Awesome.
Oh,
man.
good. Okay.
Awesome. Awesome.
See, because I'm hoping we actually sing the songs. Now we're not very good, like in the books and things.
Yeah.
It's fun to do. We're not very good at it, but it's been fun because we have listeners who will send us in their versions of the
Yes,
songs.
yes.
And we put them in the podcast. And
yes,
it's,
we play them.
So
Oh, I'll record something for you.
We
That's
would
what
love
we're
that.
hoping.
That's what
That's-
we're driving
yeah.
for.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're getting
And
at.
here's a little bit of a plug. One of the reasons
Okay.
I'm here tonight
Yeah, yeah.
is that I run the every other Wednesday open mic night here at Pivot.
Oh my gosh. We're going to have to
I guess we're gonna have to
we're gonna have to go at some point.
So we did our first one just this past Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be back in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
May 22nd, 6:30 to 9:30.
Okay.
Okay.
If you guys come
If we-
out,
we could
I'll
set-
get you up and you can sing.
Oh my
Thank-
God. Can
okay.
you imagine?
Could you
I-
imagine? I mean, literally, once we put this on the podcast, people are gonna they're gonna make sure that we are up there, and they're gonna want us to record it. So
We might need more than a couple weeks to get ready.
Imagine
know.
there's no Tolkien.
yeah,
This guy, man.
I know.
It isn't easy if you try.
Has he been singing this whole time, like Tom? I think he has.
Yes,
been.
he has, and we're
But I
actually in a
can't really
stupor.
tell.
We don't really even know what's going
My
on.
mouse. I'm just. I feel like I'm in this
Now,
house falling asleep.
For those of you that are listening to the podcast, we are actually filming this,
Yes.
We are. Yes, we
and
are.
we will
Yes.
send this to you.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
That's
Okay.
so cool,
This is
man.
perfect. This is perfect.
Yes.
So
thank
we've
you
got
so
all
much.
the media covered
We do.
here. we got the table. How's the table doing here?
Table's good, right, guys?
Tom Bombadil.
They have no idea what
This
we're
is
talking
Tom
about.
Bombadil. We found Tom
They're in a
Bombadil.
stupor. They're in a
That's my
stupor.
Goldberry down at the
Oh,
end there.
that's your
That's my
Goldberry down
Goldberry.
there.
Yeah.
Live long and be a prospector.
Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, this is awesome, man.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, thank you very much, and we legitimately will reach out to you
Yes.
because I would
Okay.
love to get some music into the podcast.
I'm thinking an
and-
intro even. He
Yeah,
plays
an intro.
we
need.
get.
We're about to
Sure.
start Return of the King. We're about to start Return of the
Yes,
King
we
literally
are.
in a month.
Yes, we
so maybe we should,
Oh, for your book, you're going to do.
yeah,
Return
for
of the
we're
King?
starting
Okay.
the reread. We go chapter by chapter, about every fortnight.
Yep.
Every 2 weeks we take on a chapter. So yeah,
And then from
So
there, I
we
think
jump.
we're gonna. We talked about going back to the Hobbit, but I think we're gonna go into the Silmarillion. But I've never read it.
Oh, it's deep.
He's read parts of it, I know, and we're gonna
It
need
is
a
deep.
lot of
Nervous,
help navigating it.
It's good. It's
Yep.
deep.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna get there because there's this show coming out. You know about the show, right? The Amazon Prime,
Oh, yes, the
and it's
series.
gonna
Yeah,
take
this-
place
yeah.
in like the
Right.
Second Age with
Right.
the Numenorians. So we got to get kind of prepped
with,
for
with
that.
a lot of the material from the Silmarillion.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So we're
we've
gonna-
got to try to get ourselves
We're
ready to
gonna
go.
get
for
ready
that.
that way, and then I think,
Which is a lot of the story of Aragorn.
yeah, like his, like his origins, right?
Exactly.
And the
Right.
Numenorians and where they come from, and
Yep.
yes, yeah,
Which is so
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So,
neat. So,
Man.
all right. Well, thanks again. This was honestly,
this is awesome.
I cannot believe this happened.
I'm so
This is
glad
so
you came
great.
up to us. Thank you
There-
so much.
There's a word that is a very important word in my life. It's called synchronicity.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
Okay.
Everything happens for a reason.
yep, sure,
Yeah.
Everything's connected.
absolutely, man.
I wasn't supposed to play here tonight,
Yep.
but I did.
Yep.
You weren't going to come here.
We didn't know
We
this
weren't
place
supposed to be
existed.
here.
But
We didn't
you
know it
did.
existed. Yep.
Synchronicity in
Yeah,
action
my man.
right there.
My man.
Okay.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Okay.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
great.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much,
Yes.
man.
Thanks
All right.
again, Goldberry. Thank you so
And-
much.
And I
It's good to
and
meet
I
you.
have to
Good
end
meet
with
you.
peace and love.
Peace and love,
Peace and love.
always.
Peace
yeah,
and
that's
love.
right. That's
Okay.
why we appreciate it. You know, hurry up. I do want to see my girls, but they're asleep. So how do I interrupt? Do we just go this way?
Yeah. Why would you?
Ethan. No? No talking? That's a shame, guys. I'm with the undefeated Tolkien game night champion,
Unreal.
and he refuses to talk.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
So, you were telling us about your favorite condiment earlier.
Yes,
You said pepper.
I said pepper.
I think I'm gonna have to go with curry because you're
I've never-
spicier. You're spicier than people realize. You give flavor to life.
I've never had curry, so I wouldn't know. I don't
I
know
have.
curry.
I've had curry and I've had you, my friend, and there are so many parallels. It's ridiculous.
Well, I appreciate it.
So anyway, we love Ethan.
Love you too.
I'm gonna get him to play rugby with me because he's the man.
One day,
One day.
I'll try.
That phrase is becoming very important to one Ezra Kirk. One day.
One day.
He keeps saying one
day.
Oh, Susie, please. What? Let me talk to you after this.
So Ethan is the knight in shining armor to Susie Millhouse. You've heard her before talk about her potato cookies, her obsession with Sean Astin's butt, and
True
all
story.
things Lord of the Rings. She is one of the Shire Rats. There are 2 of the 3 Shire Rats here tonight.
Yep.
Susie, you've had a little bit of nachos. Is that what that was?
Pretzels.
Pretzel bites. Not as good as your potato cookies.
No.
Tell us about your reactions, your experience with that Tolkien film that you just took in.
I definitely think it was amazing. I really liked how they added like the subtle like references, like the little like gold ring in his eye and like those little things like the I felt like we were in like the Barrow Downs for a minute. I feel like little things like that, like the mist coming in and I like those little subtle things, but it wasn't like, oh, we're in a Lord of the Rings movie.
Yes.
Like I liked that.
Yes.
Obviously the music like you guys were talking about before. I felt like again it was like a subtle hint to the soundtrack of Lord of the Rings, but it didn't feel like you were like listening to the soundtrack. It was
Totally agree.
Totally agree.
just enough to like
Had the same flavor, didn't it?
Yeah, like the fans of if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, it's just good music,
Right.
but the fans of the actual like movies, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
What? Switch.
What did you
okay.
think? Okay, sorry.
Switcheroo's
It's like,
happening.
just get over here.
Just get
I'm
rid
going
of
to
Susie,
ask
just
you
get up,
about your what did you think? Like impression, I guess maybe. I'm out of words because I'm a butterbur.
Impression of
and
what?
I'm an
Impression of
idiot.
what?
Holt and Collins, their chemistry. What did you think about their interactions? Like, how believable was the love story for you?
I thought it was good.
Was it better than Jack and Rose?
Yeah.
Come on. I kind of forced her. Yeah.
I'm raising my hand to Old Glory because I agree.
Me too.
I agree.
Yeah. I feel like I want to obviously see it again, but I feel like I was more like, I don't know. I feel like I want to see it again for the love story, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like I was focused more on like the references to his life and to Lord of the Rings and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Versus like
So that's like
enjoying the
another
love
layer.
story part of it. I don't know.
The journey of his love story.
That's like that other layer in the movie because that's what sometimes I'd be like, oh, I'm missing stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I honestly, I kind of felt like that until, I mean, I felt like that throughout the entire film.
I feel like I wanted to take notes.
Yeah, there was so much. I was like, holy cow, there's this angle. Like the guys were talking about before, the linguistics, the relationships, the influences on even like the setting of the story, what happens in his stories, his childhood. There was so much going on that like, but I think considering that, they did an awesome job of putting that into an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like, I don't think it could have been done any better.
No, I definitely think
that amount of information. Ezra just almost died on a jalapeno.
I can't eat anything hot.
Is that what that
Nothing
is?
hot. I have no idea. What is it? What is this? It's just a
A
mac and cheese.
Choking on a
bite.
mac and cheese
But I
bite.
dipped it in some nacho spicy sauce. I don't know.
Okay.
Susie, I only eat your cooking from here on out.
I mean, that's wisdom
Moving
right there,
down.
my friend. That's wisdom.
but no, I definitely think that I don't know, there was just so many layers to that movie.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely one I want to watch again. And
Yeah.
What did you think about the friendship that he had? What was his name? Keep messing up. Jeff? Is it Jeffrey?
Jeffrey,
Jeffrey.
yeah,
Jeffrey. Long for Jeff.
long for Jeff. Yeah.
It's that moment where he kind of like grabs his arm, you know, to kind of like reassure him a little bit.
Well, it's like
Please don't
when
touch me.
you know, Ethan isn't like a huge Lord of the Rings fan. You
Yeah.
know, So one thing, sidebar, we went to Barnes and Noble before the movie,
Yeah.
and you know, I was looking at the Lord of the Rings like pop figures. Well, Ethan bought one
Nice.
like for himself, and the
Nice.
guy was like, "Oh, you guys must be Lord of the Rings fans." As we're walking out, he goes, "Yeah, I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan. I just am a fan of my wife." I love him.
He's
But-
the best.
Which
So-
is a real life thing of
Yeah.
touching the arm. The
So
support, the
anyway,
love.
so he's like not a huge fan, but he
Yeah.
like has watched it and understands it, whatever. Well, when the one guy like laid him down and was like, "You stay here, I'll go find your friends," like put the blanket on him, Ethan like hit me and he goes, "That's like Sam, like
Yes.
taking care of Frodo," you
Yes.
know. And I was
Yes.
like,
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
And that was cool too, because like those references, there are enough in there that if you've just seen the movie, you get.
Yeah.
Right. And then also references like if you know more about his life, there's stuff like I want to go back and read his biography because I'm like, I know I missed stuff.
yeah,
I know I missed stuff that when I was super obsessed and I was a middle school student with Tolkien and I wanted to read everything I could
Yeah.
about him.
I was the same way.
Yeah, that like I have back in my clogs and the pores of my brain, but I
Yeah.
need to refresh, and so that's what it's going to drive me to do. But like layers of those references is pretty amazing.
This was also a movie you could. I mean, I feel like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like an age group, but anybody can watch this.
Yeah.
you
Any.
know? Right?
Any. Maybe if you're a little kid, not so much. You know, the death and everything, pools of blood. But hey, it's
Yeah.
real life. You got to grow up sometime.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I didn't bring Xavier.
Right,
but,
right.
So any. Okay, yeah, no.
But no, I
guess
do
not.
think
guess
that
That's right.
the different levels of like Tolkien enthusiasts can
Yeah.
watch it, which
Right.
is nice.
What do you think the estate actually thinks? Because I do feel like maybe.
Well, have they even seen it?
Well, yeah, that.
Should I
or-
watch what I'm saying again?
No. I thought somebody kind of people were making comments that like maybe they just that's a standard thing they have to say.
Yeah, it probably is.
God, I hope that's what
Like a token thing. Like, hey, we have
that's
to.
what they would say because after watching that, I don't see how anyone could be.
I
upset
definitely
by-
think it was dramatized, obviously.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Like there's certain parts,
But
and like
aren't
that
all
probably didn't
movies-
happen that way. But that's
know,
what a movie is.
That's why we go to watch.
I mean,
it.
I would hope that my life would be a little bit more exciting than my real, or the movie of my life
Well, and
would
you
be a
think
little more exciting than my real
And,
life.
and if you think about like the time period of time that captured, it's a highlight reel.
Yeah.
I mean, it showed him from the time he was like, I don't know,
Right.
7, 8, 9 to beginning to write Lord of the Rings. Like
Yeah.
that's a 30 or 40 year span.
And I feel like they did a pretty good job. I feel like they like rushed through a little bit, like obviously like his childhood and like his early adulthood.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point. Was like the point
Right.
was that middle part
Yep.
of like where he became who he was when he wrote Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think they did a really good job of spacing it out.
I did
And-
too, honestly. For as much as that actually, without realizing it until now, I didn't realize it before. Thinking about it now, that would have been my biggest fear, is if they tried to put too much in or didn't put enough in.
Yeah.
And actually, when they first started jumping around, I was like, okay, this is a little jarring. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be more chronological.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then I'm
too.
like, all right, no, we're going to jump back and forth. And it's fitting because you're seeing influences.
well, and if you think
throughout a
about
life.
the Lord of the Rings books, we jump back and forth.
Yes, they
I
are.
mean, it's the same kind of
Yes.
thing. It doesn't go
Yes.
as dramatic, obviously, but
Right.
like,
Well, and then stuff that happens in like writing that took place in the first and second age pops up in the third age,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So even that.
so I mean, it's kind of that same thing as like
Yeah.
you have to get your brain like going
Yeah.
into
Sharp.
into Return of the King. We're going back in time to figure out what everyone else was doing.
Right,
I mean, it's the
right.
same.
It's
Yeah.
I guess
mentally
that kind of makes
challenging.
sense, but
What was neat is they had those child actors who, at the end, they could bring back after we had been pulled through World War I to sit with us again at the end of the movie. I was like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is unreal.
Yeah. it
Yeah.
was.
I was shook because they're there. You
Yeah.
could see them, you could feel them. It was like
You got
you
to
could
know
reach
them.
out and touch the leather on the
Yeah,
chair
oh my
and say,
God.
"This is
Yeah.
where his arm's set. This is where."
that got me.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It was just
I'm a crier,
so,
though,
so
so.
well done.
I am too. Ezra said he saved it till the end, then he just lost control. I was like, there were like short bursts of just, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is so important.
Well, it's
and
like the
meaningful
credits
and-
started rolling and I started crying again. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
get it together. Like
Yeah,
people are going to start
hold it
looking at you
together.
now. Like,
Well, we only didn't know 2 people in there, so
Yeah.
no one's gonna.
well,
judge
the people that were beside us, the people we didn't know were sitting beside us. And at one
She's
point,
like,
the
wow.
lady just like rolled over and was like cuddling. Like,
Oh.
and Ethan was like, I don't know what's happening next to me.
Okay,
I'm a little
really?
uncomfortable.
Tolkien makeout session.
Yeah.
Not a movie I would make out to.
No,
I don't know.
I don't think
man.
it is.
Well,
I
you
don't
know
think.
what?
After that hand scene, I was like,
I think that's probably.
I
would,
looked
though.
down at
I don't-
Lane
I don't
Goldberg, I was
know-
like, somebody get a what's going on down there?
Ezra, I saw some. Are we gonna put this?
wherever you want. Wherever you want.
5330. Remember that.
Yeah.
Are we gonna put this on the main channel?
Yeah, we'll put it on the main. Or no, we can put. We'll clip it up, do a short version, and then a long version on Patreon.
All right. So I'll watch. We'll turn our mics off and have a conversation after.
I have to talk to Susie afterwards about some real
it's
serious
pertaining
stuff.
to that.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So leave this in. It's a nice little Easter egg.
Yeah, leave it in. Easter egg.
But we always love finding those when you guys say, "Did we cut this?" and then you didn't cut it.
I mean,
I just forgot to edit it out.
Why do we do the name game? I don't know. So
I know. I mean, no, I don't know. What?
No.
Don't ask
crap.
me about
now everyone's
it.
gonna be hunting
Nate's
Susie down.
favorite part is the name game. We gotta tell him why.
Yeah, we're gonna have to share with you why.
An epic. It's an epic tale.
No way, dude.
Right. Oh, that's great.
And then I'm the one that like 2 episodes in, I'm like, I already figured it out.
Yeah,
I got this.
Well, I mean,
Sleuthy Susie.
there's
what
more
you do.
to it. We're gonna have to tell you about.
All right, so trying to think of a different question I haven't asked.
Wait, you mean a
anyone
good
in
way to get
closing
into
here.
what you were gonna ask her? I mean, I can cut it out if you want.
What?
Are you gonna cut something out?
No. I wanna have it. I don't know.
Well, it's
It's
funny.
It's just a podcast. Go ahead.
I have a funny story.
Yes.
The dude that was checking us out at Barnes & Noble, he's like, oh, Lord of the Rings fans, whatever. And he goes, I don't know if you know this, but I was like, well, I told him, I was like, yeah, we're going to go see the Tolkien movie, whatever. And he was like, oh, that's cool. He's like, I don't know if you know this, but I've like heard it somewhere that like I think they're doing a show or something. And I literally told him like the whole rundown. I was like, no, they're like filming it here, there, then.
Scotland.
Like I was like, you're good, dude.
In
like,
August.
Like, look, buddy,
don't try
we're
to school me on Lord of the Rings.
That guy
we know
needs
a
to
guy
listen to
who knows a
Unexpected
guy
Podcast.
who somehow guessed when this biopic was going to be released. Or did he guess?
Or did I know? Or was
Did
it
he know?
you? Nobody knows.
No,
Or did
we don't
somebody
know.
else
Nobody
tell us?
knows.
But it's like,
Remember when people thought this movie was fake, though? We were like, oh, I thought for a while, is
I
it going
think
to be really made?
No, I think
hope.
people
I lost
thought
faith.
it was something you made up.
We've been talking about it for a year and a half, haven't we, Ez?
Guys, I'm just pounding
This
food
movie?
over here. Yeah, we have.
And it was my mom. I want to give all credit to Denise Smith. She's the one who said, hey, they're making a Tolkien biopic. And I said,
Friend requested your mom today
My mom would know that.
on Facebook.
Yeah, did you really?
I did.
She's an amazing lady.
I was like, why not?
She's wonderful.
Yes,
I'm
she
friends
should.
with Ezra's
She
dad
knows
on Facebook.
everybody. She
Yeah.
loves it. Yeah, right.
I got a story for you about that, by the way.
So we're gonna get some more juicy
I feel like
conversation
I'm getting
with
lots
Susie.
of stories from
You
Ezra
are.
tonight.
Oh, you're gonna get lots of stories if he ever gets half them out.
Right.
And we gotta tell Nate a BTS story. So
Yeah.
we're gonna see if Josh wants to talk. See if Jen wants to talk. And then we're gonna get over to Kev.
Sounds good.
And I don't know why I'm saying all this.
I don't know
I'm
why you're
exhausted, bro.
I'm exhausted too, bro. Let's pass
But-
it on down.
Okay, so I want to know. About 3 hours ago now, we saw a movie called Tolkien.
We did.
Amazing.
And I want to know your reactions, your takeaways, your experience. Did it live up to the hype? Just take me on a tour of your mind afterwards during.
I grew up with Tolkien. I did, all of my formative years reading the books, and this filled in a lot of the things that I knew about the Inklings and everything towards the end of his life, but this filled in. Actually, this is probably the best love story I've seen in a very long time.
I think I asked Susie. I said, did it beat Jack and Rose?
Yeah.
Kicked it in the ass, right?
Blew it away.
Thank you.
I'll believe you. I've still never seen Titanic. That we can come back to that.
I have seen Titanic.
No,
I haven't. I haven't.
I haven't seen Titanic.
God.
But how?
Sitting with a couple noobs
Well,
here.
yeah, really.
Guys,
I was homeschooled. Stay off my case.
True. I didn't see it until like 3
when
years
it
ago.
came out,
I didn't see it
my
until, like, 3 years
girlfriend
ago.
and I had broken up, and I somehow skipped out of that. And The Notebook, by the way.
Still
Both.
haven't seen The Notebook either. Yeah.
When at home. Duh.
What
do you want? What do you want?
I've seen that.
I use that all the time. So here, a little aside here, not to, Tolkien would approve. I think he was a drunk hobbit.
Yeah,
he was
at times.
I saw.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Telaluvie Balia. I can't speak Elvish.
Yeah, it works. Finnish, Elvish.
But when Titanic came out, I witnessed. I didn't see it, of course, but my cousin was allowed to see it. I saw him make out with a beanbag. In expressing his joy for the film, he was pretending it was Rose.
Gotcha.
Okay.
We were like 8 at the time, so we
Understood.
couldn't make out with anything.
Okay, this makes sense.
So a beanbag.
Yeah, beanbag.
I guess
It had the right contours at some places, and you know.
Well, as long as you don't press too hard, because then it would make contours in other areas.
Sure.
But
Sure.
the young imagination can make anything happen. You know?
And that's really what this movie was all about.
It really was.
Yeah.
What did you think that segue was going to happen?
I'm glad it did.
Yeah, it was. I almost said some things
well
I shouldn't
done,
have said.
sir.
And I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
So
Keep
it filled
clean,
in some of the
mister. Keep it clean.
No, I know we've got little ears listening to us now. I've cleaned it up. Have you noticed that?
I have.
No more swearing, rubber bands. I'm going on. Well, and my daughter's helped big time too. Winnie's starting to repeat the words.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. And you're getting married this summer, and I can't go to the wedding, so I feel like a douche.
Because he's not a good friend.
Yeah, I know. Ooh. I know I'm not. You know who I didn't ask to be in my wedding? Ezra. Because I forgot.
It is weird when you are preparing for a wedding, the bizarre things that you do forget. I was just reminded today, talking to my mother, about some things that I had overlooked that I need to get to, which hopefully my wife does not listen to this. That way I can just get them done and she won't realize, and then we could just ba-boom, move straight away.
You're doing a great job of keeping it on the radar. I mean, she won't know exactly what it is from
true.
this.
That's
just
true.
Some things.
Yeah, just
plural.
A couple things. We're almost done with everything.
Okay, and we'll keep it that way.
But
so filled in some gaps of his younger life that you didn't know about.
I did not know about the. I know it's not the right one, but in my head, the TCBY, which is the country's best yogurt. But what do they call them?
Yes.
I was gonna say you said that wrong.
Yeah, I know that's not the right.
Taking care of business.
I had never actually heard of that group.
They were the pre-Inklings, right?
Yeah. So. It really was fascinating to see, like I did know he was an orphan.
Yep.
I knew that he and Edith somehow were tied together at an early age, but I didn't realize like the situation that they were actually tied together.
Yeah.
But the holes that it filled it was great for me to kind of. A lot of things that I remember when I was young, like wondering how a mind comes up with what I'm reading like that. And I think it gave you a really good idea where you can start building in your head, maybe not as well as he did, but, okay, so this is kind of how the process came about, and everything else. So I thought it was amazing. And well acted.
Definitely.
Like I'd give them Oscars.
And
they were amazing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go look at see who the director was.
Dome Korakowski.
Oh, who was it?
Dome Korakowski.
Yeah, I tried not to look at anything. I didn't look at previews. I didn't look at anything because I wanted.
Dave was talking about you go into a movie with no expectations, you cannot be disappointed, and I totally agree.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yes.
And I like just getting completely lost in it, where you're not. You're not hoping for something.
You're not analyzing
just
anything.
Going through it. But yeah, it was. I loved it.
And I felt that way too. I think it's a perfect way to put it. I felt lost. I got into it. Did you notice too? The music didn't stop the entire time.
Right.
The score and we were talking about that. We were like, it's so perfect because music is where and it's because that's where music, like the world came out of all of the singing in unison and Arul Luvatar and all the whatever, what I'm going to get into with the Silmarillion here in a little bit and probably drown. But
fair.
I've drowned 3 times.
Drowned well.
I'll bring my Mithril life vest, and I think I'll be okay.
Well, way you
I don't know. It's light as feathers, so we'll see.
That works.
Tough as dragon scales. What that might be from the movie, I don't know.
It works.
So, but yes, I was blown away by what were we talking about?
The music. The music.
The immersive. It was so immersive, right?
The only time you noticed it was when you were like coming out of like something where you're either like, ashamed of the tears that are rolling down your cheeks, or you are like wondering like, oh my gosh, like it's almost too crazy.
Yes.
Like you wonder like who has these lives, and apparently the guy that we all love his work had that life.
Did you think it was amazing too that they were able to? I mean, because it was probably it probably spanned at least 35, 40 years of his life. I was worried about
the whole
from beginning to end. I was worried about I didn't know that they were going to do all that jumping back and forth, which at first I was like, okay, that's how they're going to do it. It's going to be It's not going to be chronological. It's not going to
Yeah.
be linear. It's going to be showing his influences, jumping back and forth. But also the amount of information and the amount of time and events that happened in his life that they were able to fit in there without feeling. I didn't feel like any of them were too overly like gypped. Like there was a time where I'm like, oh well, I wish I would have gotten a little more of that. I felt like it was very well balanced considering all that was in there.
Yeah.
What was your favorite? I guess like maybe it was your favorite era or event that he went through that hit home most for you.
I liked how they showed like his determinism. Like when Edith told him like, I want a place someday where people are like nice to me and there's beautiful people around wearing beautiful things and people doing beautiful things and all of that. And like as soon as she was like done with the speech, it cut to him like dropping the first money into the jar. Like he dumped out whatever wasn't important at that point. Like the way that his whole life flipped over. Like she moved him in the movie. I couldn't tell you exactly what the real autobiography would have been because I don't think there is one. But the way that they portrayed it in the movie was perfect.
Yes.
Like it moved you watching him like and when she's asking him all the questions about the books, like tell me more, and she's forcing it out of him, and he's like he doesn't want to do it at first, and then he's like he realizes like not only do I love her, but I also love what she does to me.
Yes,
and it was great.
And you get that in that moment. You get like they're perfect for each other because without her, those stories never come about.
Right.
Because we were talking about this. Like it's almost like he loved languages so much and was in denial of that, and liked the mythology, but I don't think he loved it as much as he did the language aspect.
Yeah.
Right. But how it was his destiny to bring both together.
Right.
And how she forced him to do that in a way, to tapping into his love of language and then saying, tell me the story behind that.
Right.
I mean, and it'd be interesting to go back and see like how much of that is by, but even if it's not, that relationship inspired him so much that,
Yep.
That relationship influenced and impacted him so much that even if that didn't literally happen, that was the foundation of that relationship, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's
right?
Tears. Just
I
like,
know, and
it was great. I loved it.
And that moment, like that was the moment where I was like, okay, this is. It almost kind of. I think was it David who was saying it kind of slowed down after that moment. That moment happened, and it was like it felt kind of like it was jumping around a little bit, and then you almost had this purpose. In the same way that he dumped that jar out, started putting money in,
like the direction of the movie,
determinism, like you said,
it was great.
Yeah. So, do you have to be a Tolkien fan to like this to appreciate this film? You think?
I mean, of course, I think it would help for most people, but Yes. Thank you. Like anything, it helps, but this definitely stands alone. I think that, I'm actually buying tickets for my parents for Mother's Day.
Oh,
so
nice,
they can,
man.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they can go see it because, one, it's a movie that anybody can go watch.
Yep.
You don't have to hide your wife, hide your children. Like, anybody can watch it and not feel like they've done, looking over their shoulder, did my neighbors see me or anything?
Yep, right.
And, I think it definitely, if you didn't know who Tolkien was, you could walk in and very much enjoy the movie.
Yeah. See, and I think we were talking about how, I don't know how inspiring it was. I feel very inspired now.
Yeah.
Like the major emotion I took away was, my life would have to take a really dark turn to be as. I just think maybe life in general for a lot of people, or maybe outside of our little bubble, it's a lot. It's like his life was hard. Like the war he went through, losing his parents, moving to the from the countryside into Birmingham, all that, like real trauma, real trauma.
Very much so.
Yeah, and just like how blessed I don't know if I am blessed or not to have like the life I have. You know what I mean?
You're a very blessed man.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, I think is it? What does that really mean, though? Too, you know what I mean? Like, if you're given those trials, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's why it's inspirational, because everybody has a hard life.
Sure,
but when you see somebody have a real hard life, and then the way they overcome it, you're like, all right,
I can do it. I can do
it. Let's go kick some bootay.
Yeah, and even like for me, I'm thinking like, be prepared for anything, man.
Yeah.
And like we just saw in this last chapter, Sam have to deal with something that he never even thought was going to happen. Either he was going to die and Mr. Frodo would go on, or they would make it back home.
Right.
Those are the only two things. It would never come to Mr. Frodo being assumed dead and him having to carry on.
Right.
Right. And his thought was see it through. And so in my mind, it's the same thing. Like, be prepared for anything, see life through, right?
Yeah.
This guy did it. Maybe I can do it too. But it also, like, in terms of the story, we all have these stories, right? And I was telling you how it inspired me to kind of get some fairy tales that I've written for my kids underway and kind of more completed, from more abstract stages to being able to tell them at bed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Capture it.
Yes. And you have some really cool stories. This is a slow burn to lead up to the bedtime stories that your parents created for you.
Yes.
You've told me this story like 2 times now, and I love it every time I hear it.
There are...
And I am really intrigued at this point.
Tell us about
There
it.
are 8 children in my family.
Yeah.
I'm the number 4.
Yeah. You're the halfway.
They're the first. It went 5 boys, 1 girl, another boy, and then the last one a girl.
Wow.
In my whole time growing up, from as early as I can remember, every night my dad chased everybody upstairs. It was a race. It's how he got us all to go to bed. Of course, we didn't know it at the time.
Competition, yeah.
Right, we're all like, yeah. And he would like pull us back down the stairs. And it was like, it was a fun game every night. We loved it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's good rugby training, actually.
Yeah, exactly. We'd say prayers, and then he'd be like, all right, time for the blanket show. And everybody would like run upstairs. And by the time everybody got done brushing their teeth and everything else, he would pick like a different person's room, like you know, whichever kids were in the age range to hear these stories still, because of course some people grew out of it and everything else. But so he created stories that I'm assuming I never actually asked him when he started it, but I would assume it started all the way back with my oldest brother.
Yeah.
And
but that's all you ever remember, right? That's all you ever knew.
The only thing I ever remember going to bed was we were allowed to stay up for the story.
Yeah.
And typically by the time he was done with the story, like the older ones were still hanging on. The youngest ones had gone to bed.
Yeah.
He would carry whichever ones, you know, were passed out to bed, and then, you know, he would always until next time was always how he left it.
Until
but,
next time.
You know, and a lot of the characters were borrowed from other, you know, nursery rhymes and stories and everything else. But
a Sesame Street character worked in there too.
Yeah, Mr. Hooper was stolen from Sesame Street. Mr. Green Jeans was the main character.
Yeah.
They were called the Mr. Green Jeans stories, which I think that was original. It had Goldilocks and the 3 Bears.
Yep.
And this was like a town of like people and animals that all lived together. And of course there was like a Aesop fable type feel to like the moral of the story is
right.
every time, and everybody's favorite, and he had like the alligators when they would like come down the street. There was Aloysius, Bart, and Conway. And they were
is that 3 names?
There's 3 alligators.
Aloysius.
They lived in the swamp.
ABC, man.
Yeah. Exactly. You don't realize this until later on. You're like, why was it? And it's so he could remember the names.
Yeah,
And in the stories, he'd be like, where were we?
And then
we would all be like, oh, this is going on, and this is going on. And he'd be like, oh, right. And then he would get back into it.
Awesome.
But this went on for, my oldest brother, Sean, is almost 50. And my youngest, he is 50. And my youngest sister is 25 now.
Oh, my gosh.
So this went on forever.
Yeah.
And
decades.
Yeah, and I didn't, of course, when you're little, you have no idea what you're getting.
Right.
But Looking back on it, of course, now I'm like,
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and
that's like you know what it reminds me of is when Tolkien would do the Father Christmas letters.
Yeah,
and about the polar bear the mischievous polar bear,
and
all the happenings at the North Pole, and it's just like that. Anyway, I found it inspiring because I remember stories that my mom would read to us a lot, and Dad would like sing to us and just kind of talk to us. He would tell stories if we asked him to, but it's really inspired me to, like I was telling you, get those stories done, and then also to I think it's cool how he had you guys. Part of it was to help jog his memory.
Oh, yeah.
But part of it also was you had a hand in it, too. Like, you had a part in the story of
Clearly it made an impact that is still felt today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean,
and it's inspiring me. I was never a kid in those rooms at night hearing those stories, and I find it very inspiring.
And he would insert, like, the lessons that each kid needed to learn. Like, he'd be at work.
Man, it's awesome.
And... Again, no idea.
So we find out that Bart should not have been, beating his younger brother,
right,
Conway.
And Aloysius shouldn't have been laughing the entire time.
Ew.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. So in closing, I guess what would you give this? Give this movie a rating, and then will you watch it again?
I will definitely watch it again because I have quite a bit that I want to. I want to go do a little bit of research and then watch it again just to see. Because, again, I didn't look at all into what they were going to do, what people were saying about it, nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see how close it is to the... Like, there's some really memorable things that I know about his young life, especially with Edith, that weren't in the movie, I think, for probably timing. And then also today's generation has a little bit of a... They'd probably not like. Anyway, nothing negative. Just
a
different
time.
Different time. Yeah.
But yeah, I wanna definitely see it again. But I want to check out a little bit of the writing so I can see how close they stayed.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome, man.
It was great.
I think
though.
I want to do the same.
My rating,
10 rings out of 10 rings. What do you give?
Out of 10 rings, we'll give it. If it would have. Of course, it would have been a 5-hour movie, but if it would have actually gone to the Inklings, I would have.
Oh, that would have been.
It would have been complete.
Yeah. So
but we would have been just walking out of the theater right now.
Yeah.
Really. If they covered his whole life.
Without an intermission, kind of a deal.
Right.
And that's the kind of cool thing that to piggyback on what you're saying is that's a part most people are familiar with. We know he was friends with C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
We know that they met at the the Eagle and Child, and that all these great stories that everyone knows was born from this. And this is kind of cool because, well, Ben, you were talking about, what's it called? Spring harvest?
A spring harvest,
yeah.
Yes.
So it's almost like it's going to get us to focus on his earlier life, and then, we're going to go look up Jeff Smith's Spring Harvest and read those poems and think about, how that friendship was so important to him that's something he not fought for, but he went and requested from his mother and said, can I publish these? Can I write a foreword? It means that much to me. I think the world needs to hear.
Oh, totally.
What a good friend, man. It's just mind-blowing.
You got to think, not only was probably Boromir in part he's the one of the Fellowship who died, so it's clearly Jeff probably had an element of Boromir in him.
He's the one that doesn't come home.
You got to think about, Sam. It's probably Sam is the dream Jeff for Tolkien.
Yeah.
He wanted
saw that friendship.
Sam to survive for his Frodo effectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it didn't happen, but he basically tried to encompass what actually happened with what he wished had happened in the story. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Oh my gosh, wow.
Real intense.
Very true. All right, brother. Well, I'm gonna see if Josh and Jen will jump on here.
Do it.
But I love you guys.
Of course.
It's been fantastic.
All right, friends. Well, thanks for listening. Again, those were just our initial reactions, and nice to hear from some of the uppers that you guys interact with in the group. And we'd love to, if someone wants to start. There was a thread out there already on the Facebook group where folks were kind of talking about the show. Posted this a little bit late, but hopefully you enjoy some of the conversation and the friendships and the fellowship that we had. thereafter after this wonderful, wonderful movie. So leave your comments down below. Send us an email with your thoughts, and we'll try to incorporate that into the next few episodes here. We are starting the reread, though, and shortly after this episode drops, we will have Mike Charles on for Minas Tirith, an amazing conversation, 4 hours worth of conversation. Epic. I've got to figure out how to piece it all together, and maybe it's going to have to be 2 parts, friends. It's another one of those, we had Faramir earlier, now we've got Boromir showing up. It's fantastic. We can't stop talking, and just lots to discuss. So get ready for the Return of the King. It's going to be an amazing experience. We're going to go back to the Fortnite system. I think several folks maybe are behind. We still have people coming in to, like, every day. We're getting new listeners and new members to the book club. So thank you for being so positive and welcoming everyone to the club. It's fantastic. We mentioned it with Mike. With Mike Charles, we kind of talk about just how amazing the book club is, and the positivity and the fellowship. It's just wonderful. You guys, something to be proud of. So, all right. Well, thanks again. And if you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write a review, leave a comment, or send us a shadow fax. We will see you next time. And remember, Frodo lives.